Greetings, land of YouTube. We've got developing Wyckoff distribution, redistribution phase, dumpage in process, in progress, whatever I'm trying to say. Was that a dramatic opening? I know lots of people don't want to hear this information, but you need to. I believe this is dumping down to about 20,000, maybe lower for a short time. I know you might want to stop watching this video and hit the dislike button, but I strongly urge you that if you're new to this type of deal, that you should hang out here for just a minute and just listen to what I'm saying. I could be wrong. I believe I'm correct. I could be wrong. This is not financial advice. With that being said, let's get to it. There are a couple more developments and a couple things I didn't say in the last video. I know my videos are all talking about this lately, but there's nothing else to talk about, folks. Bitcoin is in the process of a crash. The good news is it's going to recover the rest of 2021, maybe into 2022. Who knows? No one knows for sure. But the good news is there's a giant recovery coming. But that's not what we're talking about yet. We're talking about major carnage, major retail destruction, major losses by people who are being led in. I listened to YouTubers. I started getting Bitcoin over here. I started learning technical analysis from this point on back in November 2020, which is an interesting time to get involved because that's exactly where this Wyckoff distribution starts. If you're not familiar, if you haven't seen my latest videos, this is a Wyckoff distribution. On the far left is November 2020. Down at the bottom, accumulation. Mark up to a reaccumulation. Mark up to a distribution where all the experienced people with huge money get out and all the people with little money, the retail guys and ladies, get sucked in. This is where Elon Musk tweets, huge markdown, huge losses, redistribution, another huge markdown to accumulation where eventually it pops up. That's what I was talking about. So for those of you that weren't watching, now you know. To me, it's glaringly obvious this is going to happen. Like I said, I could be wrong. When I'm talking to other people, I need to say I could be wrong. When I'm talking to myself, I say this is happening. If you Google it, you will find all kinds of these charts. You know, I don't want to talk about trading, particularly right now, to new people who aren't experienced. But of course, you're supposed to enter long positions on the way up and enter short positions on the way down, and of course, enter long positions, and that's also a great time to invest. If you want to just hit the buy button one time and look at it in 10 years, your opportunity is coming up. I do believe right about in here. If you want to just buy here and look at it in 10 years, you can do that. You can move your finger once and be a genius. Perhaps. Could be wrong. This isn't a situation where it needs to be like perfectly symmetrical and it's going to do exactly this and that. These can, like this one here is a little different. I mean, it's the same model, but the accumulation on the left here back in November, 17 to 20,000, goes up, reaccumulates, distributes on the top, comes down, redistributes, comes down, and see how the accumulation bottom on this chart is actually a little higher than the accumulation over here. See that? I think this is maybe kind of a likely situation for Bitcoin. Maybe put in a giant death wick right about here and then pop back up immediately, and maybe an accumulation at 30 grand. The speculation. What I think though is this. I don't think I am speculating about anything here. I think this is reality. I don't think, it is speculation, but I don't think it is. Okay, so the new thing I want to add to this video. My last video, I talked about the death cross coming in, the 50-day and the 200-day moving averages and crossing. Lots of YouTubers are saying that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter, and that could be true, but that's just one thing that's lining up here. I have a doozy coming at the end of this video. Kraken sent out a message. They're stopping leverage traders from using leverage on June 23rd. June 23rd is a mysterious date. So let's put Michael Jordan's number up here. If this thing would stop drawing. There we go. June 23rd, folks. June 23rd. It has become a very mysterious number to me all of a sudden. June 23rd, which is probably a likely date for the death cross or thereabouts. Watch out for FUD storms coming in around this time. There's a FUD storm. There's squiggly stuff here. We've got this, of course, the Wyckoff distribution. It's going to take about 7 months or so, 8-9 month pattern playing out, which I think is certainty in my mind. I can't say that to you because it's not a guarantee. You need to make your own decisions. Never listen to anyone on YouTube. Educate yourself. If you're interested in this type of stuff, the long-term stuff is a lot easier and you can learn a lot quicker just because it's easier to see long-term trends than it is for the really good, experienced, short-term technical traders. I'm not going to make those videos for a long time because I can't, but I can make videos what I know. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm never going to tell anyone what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think. And the dollar has been recovering, which is bad for Bitcoin. One thing I didn't notice in my last video, like I say, I'm not a real highly experienced short-term TA person at this point, but there's a head and shoulders in here, which is in a bearish pattern. Often leads to dumps. See this here? This is the right shoulder. This is the head. This is the left shoulder. My free line drawer is like a magnet to these data points, so I can't exactly draw a head and the shoulders. But on the left is the left shoulder, and in the middle is the head. Here's the right shoulder. It's not fully formed yet, but when this right shoulder forms down here, right here, see this? June 23rd, it lines up perfectly, right? This reaccumulation to start 2021 lasted 37 days. Let's just call it 37 days. It doesn't matter, 36, 37. There's no set time, it doesn't have to match perfectly, but 36, 37 days is almost June 23rd on the dot. Now, let me, in the last video I said there's snakes and liars, and it's not because of cryptocurrency, it's because of the money markets, right? You just trust yourself. Don't trust other people. Don't listen to other people. I want to show you one really strange thing that just occurred to me yesterday after I made my video. I use Kraken, and they sent this message about a week or two ago. It says, in light of regulatory guidance, all U.S.-based clients who want to trade on margin will be required to be eligible contract participants. Click here to self-certify your status. Continue trading on margin with Kraken. It didn't occur to me. I read this a couple weeks ago. Look at the date. June 23rd. All the retail customers on Kraken are going to be stopped from trading with margin on June 23rd, which lines up with an epic dump on Bitcoin, right? So why would they pick June 23rd just out of the blue, right? What this is, if you don't have $10 million in assets, you can no longer trade in the United States on Kraken legally. It is worded down here. It says regardless of your, they're asking you to self-certify, and they're saying, we're going to cut you off on June 23rd. It says regardless of your response, you will be able to continue margin trading at least until June 23rd, at least. So it is actually worded kind of like, if you don't self-certify and don't say anything, don't ask, don't tell. It kind of sounds like they're going to let you keep going for a little while. But the timing is bizarre. If you have this kind of information, June 23rd, rather odd, don't you think? If it dumps down here, if we're down here on June 23rd, all these huge multi-billion-dollar long trade liquidations, all these huge long liquidations, people just getting wiped out, right? Just massive losses. YouTubers leading retailers to their doom with hype and hype and hype and hype and hype. Just massive, massive long liquidations over and over and over 5 times. I believe this is the 6th time. It's the same story right here, right? I believe there's going to be a massive, massive long liquidation here. Probably at least $10 billion. The thing about this is these people getting wiped out, they were able to recover if they were to able to re-long the bottom and recover here, right? Re-long the bottom and recover here. Re-long the bottom and cover here. Re-long the bottom and recover here. Okay, so June 23rd, boom, well, everyone's cut off, right? Massive long liquidation. Well, sorry, you're not able to trade anymore legally on Kraken. You're cut off, so you can't recover. I just think that's bizarre. It's a bizarre timing. It really sticks out like a sore thumb. But maybe we'll call this the Michael Jordan move. What do you think? I'll coin the phrase, folks. Which is interesting because that was an analogy I was going to use, and I didn't think of that until right now. If you do something wrong, then do something right. Right? If you do something wrong, buy here and do something right. It's like billiards. It's like shooting billiards. It's like shooting basketballs. If you miss a shot, just keep taking shots, right? If you make a terrible shot in billiards, you have to forget about it and just take your next shot. You know, you're going to get another shot. Either that or just quit, right? The point is you can't dwell on the past. And Michael Jordan was a guy who he's just going to keep taking shots, right? Wayne Gretzky, I think, was it Gretzky or Jordan? Said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The reason why Wayne Gretzky was so great, he was the great one, because he didn't go to where the puck was. Wayne Gretzky was great and kept taking shots because he would go to where the puck is going. When the puck arrives to him, he takes the shot, right? So that's kind of a fun little analogy. When I go like this, sometimes my line thing doesn't stop drawing. So if you see some weird stuff like that happen, don't ignore that unless I talk about it. There's other things too. There's other things that are all feeding into this as well. But watch out for the squiggly mess here. This is the FUD. FUD can drop this market 20% by itself. Lots of really highly intelligent, experienced people are saying death cross doesn't mean anything. Maybe that's true, but that's not always true. Just be careful, would you please? Because it's the same story over and over and over and over and over and over. YouTubers, massive hype leading people to their doom. Massive hype leading people to their doom. Because they're not talking to real experienced people, right? And so they're entering these long leverage trades, right? And they're making tons of money, but then boom, and it dumps and they lose, and it's just boom. This is the fourth time here, you know, and now's the time to buy. Fifth time here, right? It's just over and over. This is going to be the same thing, right? Oh, it's the bottom. Oh, leverage, long leverage trade to the moon, boom, right? So how many times do you have to see it, right? And so I've actually stopped watching almost every single YouTube channel I was watching. I learned a lot, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've seen it 5 times, right? I don't need to see it a 6th time. 6 is coming, okay? Here it is, right? It's coming. This is not investment advice. I could be wrong. I believe I'm correct. I would recommend, if you're inexperienced and you don't know really what you're doing and you're just looking for good information, you will want to put a little money. It might not last long. You might not have much of a chance, but if you want to get some orders in the 20,000s, non-leveraged, just investments, I think this is a wonderful time because it's going to come down, and it might kind of do like this for a while. Who knows what's going to do for sure down here, but it's coming back up because all those hype YouTubers, they are correct fundamentally, right? But they just don't understand that the big boys are stealing everyone's money, basically, right? But they do that because The reason they're doing that is because they're going to end up eventually driving the price way up here. Okay. So if you're just a little fish and you're scared and you don't know what's going on, just find a little coral reef over here and just kind of lurk around and find yourself some tasty little minnows to eat or some worms to eat. This is about the safest move you could ever have. Boom, right? Just buy here and turn your devices off for 5 years and come back and enjoy some ice cold lemonade and a hammock, right? I sure hope you enjoyed this show. And as always, thanks for watching.